are also listening at 4 o'clock. Just so that you know.
Hey, I think we're on.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's all good. This is what happens on a live show.
Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Clifton Johnson, and I'm the founder and the executive director of the Empower Series. For those of you who don't know, the Empower Series is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. We are brought to you through the generous donations of Comerica Bank. Yes. Are we?
Oh, so we weren't on?
No, we're on live now. This is it. This is the value of a live show, isn't it?
This is great.
I know.
This is great.
Like perfection is not really the goal.
No.
It's just being authentic.
Yes.
So again, my name is Clifton Johnson, everyone, and welcome to the live YouTube broadcast of the Empower Series. We're brought to you by the generous donations of Comerica Bank, AE Media Group, and your donations. I want to thank you for that. For those of you who don't know, if you're new and you're watching us, we're not always like this.
No, but today has been, well, I haven't been introduced yet, so they don't even know who I am.
Right. We will. I'll get to you.
Okay. They're probably going, who's that lady who's laughing in the background?
So I tell you what, we are a nonprofit organization, and our mission is very, very simple: is to inspire the world to thrive. We envision a world where everybody's thriving, that is progressively realizing a worthy ideal, where you've identified what it is you want to accomplish, and you're taking progressive steps towards that. Every event that we do, we give you hope, inspiration, education, and more importantly, connection to resources to help you achieve your goal. This month, September, is Life Insurance Awareness Month. So on the second Saturday of this month, we're going to be in Houston at the Houston Area Urban League in the 3rd Ward from 10 to 12, and we're going to talk about life insurance. On the 3rd Saturday of this month, which is the 21st, we're going to be at the Highland Hills Library. The Friday before, we're going to be at the Meadows Conference Center talking about life insurance. So that is going to be our theme this month, and I am excited to introduce you to our guest.
Here we go.
Our guest is actually, she's an employee at Eastfield College, which is part of the Dallas County Community College District. Her name is Marie Caratini.
You got that so beautifully right.
Oh, I just went in flow.
That's just awesome.
We met last month, probably.
We met last month.
Yeah, on
Yes.
LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is a good thing. We were connecting. I was looking for someone to really talk about growth mindset, because we do we do not only life insurance, we do financial literacy, but we also talk about growth mindset training for students and adults, and pretty much the low to moderate income individuals. So we want to put information in the community that can help empower them. So as I was looking out on LinkedIn and looking for people who can talk about growth mindset, I ran into Marie. And we were in conversation. You were traveling, I believe. You were going
Yes.
out of the country, so you couldn't really work in a program that we were doing the month that we met. But I definitely wanted to get her on the program on our podcast to talk about some of the fantastic things that she's doing, not just at Eastfield College, but also in the community. And we're going to talk a lot about how we can take the Empower Series and translate it to multiple languages, because she speaks 8 languages.
Okay.
Well, okay,
Fluent in about 4. The others, I just love them.
Okay.
But we'll talk about that. We'll
Fluent
develop
in
that
4
topic.
languages,
I will tell you.
But again, she can communicate to multiple groups of
Yes.
people. That's what I'm talking about. So we're going to take the Empower Series multilingual.
Yes.
Well, without any further ado, Marie, I want to thank you for taking the time to coming and dealing with our imperfection. You actually work in a department at Eastfield called the Center of Excellence for Teaching and Learning. Is that correct?
Yes, that is, for me, the best team of our college. Of course, other people at our college will say, well, wait a minute, we're the best teams too. But I feel very, very blessed to be a part of the Center for Excellence in Teaching and Learning, and have a fantastic team around me. As I said when I came in, I go to work happy and I come home happy. And not very many people can actually say that. It's a great place.
But we know that excellence is not perfection.
Excellence is not perfection.
And we were just
true.
talking about the way you learn is going through missteps. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
What we try to do at the Center for Excellence in Teaching and Learning is we try to make sure that we provide exceptional customer service best pathways for individuals to be able to do their work. We have super faculty at Eastfield. They're just exceptional. And our administrators and our staff are too, and they're very, very busy individuals. So they'll drop into the Center for Excellence. We're actually led by Lucinda Gonzalez, who, as I told you, Clifton, sent out to the entire college that we're doing this at 4 o'clock this afternoon.
Is that not crazy?
So I don't know if you have like 400 people listening or not, but not to frighten you, it went everywhere. Yes. But she's fearless, and that's what we love to be at the Center for Excellence. We like to be fearless. So we synergize and we make sure that individuals come in, they get the work that they need to get done so that they can go on to do what we love to do at Eastfield, which is serve our student population.
Well, we believe at the Empower series that, you never stop learning.
That's true.
Learning is a continuous process, whether it's formally in school, whether it's outside school, you connect, you learn through everybody you meet. So I think that we're just going to have a great conversation about how do we continuously learn. And also we're talking about growth mindset.
Yes.
So do you do some specific things around growth mindset development with the teachers and the students?
Well,
So
I
tell me more about
appreciated that you saw some of the information on LinkedIn of what our college does for growth mindset. We have two amazing faculty members, Professor Bree Day and Professor Brian Ruffino, and they were the ones, actually it was Professor Brian Ruffino came to us with the idea of empowering employees at Eastfield by learning and studying about growth mindset. And then, of course, in conjunction with Bree Day, they put together some surveys to get people talking, to get people excited about learning how to break away from everything that disempowers us so that we can empower ourselves. And through their extraordinary work, and that includes a book club, we were able to work with a very sweet group of employees at the college who then branched out to their departments and spoke to people about how wonderful it is to break through, look at the future. What can you do better? Build a growth mindset for yourself.
Okay.
Yes.
So you're doing some specific things around the faculty.
Yes.
Do you bring anything towards students around that? And what do you bring around students?
Part of the intention of the growth mindset program for the college is to allow advisors and individuals who truly are on the front line working with students to be able to take the growth mindset and put it into whatever 20 minutes, 30 minutes an individual may have with a student to empower them, to acknowledge with them the possibilities in their career path, in the courses that they are taking, or their relationships with their faculty members. And that's super important to us because that's the concentric circle of our college, of our district, right? The student is everything. And so to be able to translate what we do in the Center for Excellence in terms of getting together, discussing the book Mindset by Dr. Carol Dweck, and providing that to a student encapsulated in language that they understand and that they can groove to,
Right.
that just takes the message everywhere.
So it's interesting that she came out with this book and she's coined the phrase
Yes.
fixed mindset and growth mindset.
Yes.
And so all of a sudden when you hear about fixed mindset and growth mindset, you know which one you want to lean towards, right?
That's
You want to be
true.
the growth. But the reality is that we all have both, don't we?
We do.
In
We
certain
do.
areas of our lives.
Well, there are circumstances. We may be in a situation and we're analyzing why things aren't working well, and we may fall into the fixed mindset of, I've done that before. I don't want to go through that again. I don't want to fix that. I'm just going to leave it the way it is, and I'm just going to go on my way. With the growth mindset, we're looking at, there must be something in there for me to learn that's going to help me in the future, that when I'm in this problematic situation, I'm going to be able to break it apart. I'm going to be able to study it, and I'm going to be able to remember, what, I had a misstep like that, and I know how to get out of that, empower myself, and continue working and make something great out of it. That's that growth mindset.
Yeah.
And it happens all the time, and it happens every day.
Yeah, and so I know in some areas I can see myself with the growth mindset. I'll keep doing it. I'll run into a challenge and I'll try a different strategy to achieve it. In areas where I find that I see I'm more of a fixed mindset person is when I'm getting frustrated with the person.
Oh.
And I'm thinking, okay, well, this person is just this way. let me just give up. And that's not really the case, because if I work hard on saying, okay, what's my approach? What's the personality style? Maybe if I flex my style or whatever, I can be more effective in communicating and getting my point across. So that's where at least I find that I lean towards more of a fixed mindset with certain relationships. Yeah.
And one of the things that we have to realize is that there is a golden opportunity in every single person we meet. You know, I was at district conference day, and look at what happened today in the first 5 minutes of our conversation.
Yeah.
You mentioned a colleague of my district
Yeah.
that actually has a series that is for women, the empowerment of women. And you're going to be meeting her soon.
Yeah, I hope
So, yes. So there is a golden opportunity in everyone. So if we concentrate on that perception of, oh, this is going to be problematic, I don't even like the way the person looks, I'm not going to, we're then setting up a barrier where we're actually saying, I don't want to further even a Christian perspective of, that's my brother, that's my sister out there, right? And so we're locking ourselves into a mindset that isn't going to allow us to find what it is in every single individual that is the great person exchange between the two of us. What's that chushpa that's going to come out? What new relationship can be built, and opportunities grow out of talking to people, because we all have something in common. Every single one of us, we all have something in common.
So we're going to talk more about growth mindset and some of the takeaways that I believe is going to be very beneficial for people to know.
Yes.
But before we do that, I want to know a little bit about you. Who you are.
Yes.
I know that when we first met, were you going home?
I was going home to Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then unfortunately I bumped into the protests over there on the island. And you know what I saw? I saw millions of empowered people screaming, we don't want crooks in the government. Please leave. And they actually ousted the governor. So
That's good.
that's good.
Yeah.
That's strong people right there.
So you
or
do
the
have
joke,
power.
or we do have this joke that if you do need somebody to do something for you and you don't know how to do it yourself, just call 1-800 Puerto Rican. And we'll come charging. We'll come charging with pots and pans, and we'll get the job done.
The people are
we don't cost very much. A pot and a pan, that little cucharita. Yes,
The people are in charge. Though,
the
right?
people are in charge. People are always in charge. Yes.
So outside of that, you had a great trip.
It was great because all of my
Seeing
family lives
family.
on the island. Yes,
cool.
yes, and they were all doing well.
And so tell
That
me
was
about
a blessing.
So tell me about your, you coming here, and so I'm not going to ask you anything specific.
Okay.
I'm going to give you the opportunity to disclose what you like to disclose.
Oh, okay. That sounds wonderful.
But tell us about yourself and what led you into where you are today.
At a very, very young age, and I would say maybe 8, 9 years old, I was sitting in front of the TV set watching PBS, and I turned to my poor mother, who was startled to death. I turned to my mom because I was actually watching a British show, and I said to her, "Mommy, how come these people talk this way when they're watching the telly?" And she freaked out, ran to my dad, and was like, "There's something wrong with Maria," right? Something wrong with Maria. But at age 8, 9, I became very curious about accents and how people talk and express themselves. And by the age of 11, 12, I had a Cuban uncle who would come over to my father's house to visit with his wife, and I would listen to them speak Spanish. And I was like, that's not the same accent we have. Isn't that interesting? And within a couple of visits, I could actually talk like my uncle.
Wow.
So I would sit back with him and I would say, "Tío, oye, chiquitico tú, vente, vamos a tener una conversación ahora, mijo." And my uncle would be floored. He was like, "Oh my God, you sound Cuban." But I was incredibly intrigued. And then when I moved to Puerto Rico, met my wonderful grandparents for real, as in cooking with them, cleaning with them, living on a farm, taking care of cows and horses and goats. I would listen to my grandparents speak, and I was floored, right? Because this was like a totally different Spanish. And it's the Jíbaro Spanish of our country. So I would hear my grandmother turn to my grandfather and say things like, allá pues la halda, pues vamos a buscar las vacas ahora porque le vamos a sacar un poco de leche, vamos a ver. And I was like, okay, my mother doesn't talk that way. My father doesn't talk that way. What is that? And believe it or not, I actually have a book that I found in Puerto Rico, a linguist, Dr. Tomas Navarro, who did a study of all of the accents on the island and concentrated on the accent of the Puerto Rican of the turn of the century. So I actually found my grandparents' phonological representation of how they would speak Spanish because they didn't have a chance to go to school. They didn't know how to read and write. Their language was basically oral. And my grandfather didn't learn how to read and write until later in life. He was in his 30s because they decided to own a business in their on the farm. My grandparents would make cheese, white cheese. So, and they didn't know the math to, for example, grade the cheese in order to make it. Yeah. So they had a whole bunch of straw hats in the kitchen. Each straw hat was half an ounce, 2 ounces, until they got to the pound. That's how they made their cheese, and that's how they sold their cheese. Wow. Basically, cellophane paper within the hat, and then we would cure the milk, and we would put the chemicals that we needed to put in the chemicals to cut the milk, and then we would pour it into the cellophane, wrap it up, and the whole hat, everything, would go into a refrigerator.
Wow.
Yes.
So how old were you when you were doing that?
So I was 13, 14 years old and fascinated by life in my home country and life on the farm. Totally fascinated. It's interesting that paired with your first name, Clifton, I happen to be a Clifton Strengths coach. And it's one of those positive psychology assessments. And it gives you a top 5 strengths, right? So we all have 5 things in ourselves that flourish, right? That when we're working, when we're talking to people, when we're socializing, even working in our communities and with our families. And my number 1 is learner.
Oh, okay.
And let me tell you, it's been my number 1 all of my life.
It sounds that way.
Yes, yes. Because I am a curious cat. I'm intrigued by things. If you bring me a project, I want to know from start to finish how it works, you know? And if it fails in the middle, I will do everything possible to learn how to fix it so that it's actually better. So, and I remember as a child growing up with my grandparents and my family, I was the learner. I was the one who would help my grandfather with the math calculations because he was still trying to learn how to do that, but he had his own business.
So it's no accident that you are where you are today.
I think family, if we think of Malcolm Gladwell, and he talks about outliers. That was one of the books he has written that is my favorite. Right. There are opportunities that surround us that make us the individuals we are. And I feel that as a middle child, because I picked up languages so quickly, I learned how to read in Spanish by myself. I remember sitting down next to one of my sisters. She was already graduating from high school. She had a book on her lap, and I took it from her, and I read a paragraph, and she was like, because I haven't taught you Spanish, how did you learn how to do that? And I became bilingual by the age of 16.
Wow, okay. So your curiosity.
Curiosity.
You be able to have an ear for language and accents.
Yes.
And then you wanting to help and learning whether it's entrepreneurship or whatever it is, that curiosity has really brought you to where you are today.
I feel so.
Where you're helping other professionals explore and elevate their area of excellence in personal development and growth.
Yes. You encapsulated that so beautifully. I should have written that on my beautiful pad that you gave me.
It's been recorded.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right. That's right.
So I think this is really good because part of the Empower series, I believe that what we're doing should not be limited to just one language.
True.
And there's a whole segment of people that are out there that we who don't have the ability to speak multiple languages are limited to. Yeah. And so we can use you as a resource, but definitely use our curiosity to see how can we translate the work that we're doing into multiple languages, because we're all really more alike than we are different.
That is the truth.
Yeah.
And para aquellas personas que están escuchando y hablan en español, el empoderamiento es algo que todos tenemos definidos dentro de nuestro ser, right? So empowerment is within us. Everybody has it in all languages, in all cultures. We look at people and how people survive. You know, we've been praying for the people of the Abaco Islands in the Bahamas and what they've recently gone through, right? A hurricane, 185 miles. I don't even know how the meteorologists say it, but destruction, total destruction. And yesterday they were being interviewed, and there was this wonderful man saying, "This is our strength is that we get up. There's nothing here, but you know what? There will be something here, because that is our strength. We get up." Yeah. And to think that, and he was standing where there was nothing. So to feel that you have that within you to strive to do better. Oh yeah.
Yeah. And you know, the videos that we've seen is like horrific.
It is
and the stories that we hear about people who've watched their family members and loved ones just get taken away. And the heroic stories that you hear about people reaching out and saving other people.
Yes.
You know, and things of that nature. So we are like, and our prayers do go out to the families and to the people that are on the path and are being affected by the hurricane.
And I believe that Malcolm Gladwell says that resilience is something that we actually learn from our own families and those around us, right? We look at people and we see how people grow and they get stronger and how they empower themselves. And whether we use that immediately or not, it doesn't matter. At some point in our lives, it's going to click, and we're going to remember that we saw that as an example in someone. Yeah. And then we're going to be able to give that away to somebody else, which is what we do at Eastfield. We give that away to our students. If there is something that I learned when I was in school that allowed me to become a stronger Maria, I'm going to be able to take that story and tell it to a student and learn from that student that there is something that they probably have never told, that they have seen, that they have done, that is being the stronger person. And they'll be able to give that right back to you.
Yeah. Well, one of the most underestimated words or I don't know, the value is hope.
Yes. Hope.
You know, that, you know, giving someone hope that they can achieve their imagination or the idea that they have in their mind, you know, that they can do it no matter what. And this whole thought that they need resources or there's a lack of resources. I read in this book called The Tao of Abundance that we walk around with an illusion of lack. It's truly an illusion because there's an abundance of resources around us. And one of the things that the Empower series hopes to do is to really connect people with those resources. So you being one of them, you know, and Eastfield College is one of them, right? You know, the resources that the Dallas Community College district, I can't, you know, I always get the 3 C's where, so it's Dallas
County. But I can
County,
do it for you.
It's Dallas County Community College.
Dallas County Community College District.
So when you look at the resources that are available, even with the new program, which is what is it called? The Dallas Hope?
Dallas Promise.
Dallas Promise?
Oh, yeah.
The Dallas Promise.
Yes.
It's like not enough people know about that. I was just speaking to a young high school student who was doing an intern at the Empower series, and he was thinking he was going to go to the military because he didn't know that he had other options. So again, it goes back to where there's an illusion of lack. There's resources around us. There are people around us that if we just reach out and connect with more people, we can really be a resource and helping hand.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And our district, I feel, with Dallas Promise, with the different types of services that it provides for students, food pantry, sessions and training on equity, diversity, inclusion. We have an excellent center for that at Eastfield College, and there is this constant training and opportunity for students to be able to learn more and for employees to be able to look into ourselves, think about our unconscious biases. And, you know, what are we doing? We know when we talk, are we really talking the talk or is just imitative, you know? People can see whether you're authentic or not, and students can really tell if you're being authentic or not. And so being able to participate in all these different types of trainings and provide that then through a lens that will allow us to go out into the community and, yes, work through Dallas Promise, work through guided pathways, and give people the opportunities that they need to study. Of course, I work at Eastfield, so I would say we do a great job of that. But I know that our district does a great job of that.
And I was actually, I attended Northlake
Yes.
in Brookhaven.
Yes.
And actually the Empower series from 2013 and 2014, we did our monthly workshops at Cedar Valley College.
Oh, wow.
So there's a relationship there.
Yes.
Now, is there a program called Brother to Brother?
At Eastfield College?
Well, or
yes,
maybe El Centro.
I will tell you.
Yeah, tell me
at
about that
Eastfield College, we have the Male Initiative program,
Yes.
led by Timothy Duffy.
Okay.
I'm hoping I got his name correct. He is extraordinary. And we just had a major conference over the summer and just recently an evening activity. And that is to empower male students of all cultures, all ethnicities.
Well, just another connection story. There's a student back in 2014 that was in that program. One of the professors used to take a bus load of young men to UTD in Richardson, because that's where we were before we went to Cedar Valley College.
Yes.
And at one of our events, he met Dr. Dennis Kimbrough.
Oh,
And
that's
that inspired
fantastic.
him. At that time, he was actually living in his car. His grandmother had passed away, recently came out of prison, and he was going through getting his associates. But he said that event really inspired him, motivated him, and meeting other professionals inspired him to go ahead and continue his degree. He graduated from Delta State University, and he is now studying for his LSAT because he wants to be an attorney. And he's asked me to write him a letter of recommendation, and he's sitting for that on September 21st. So all the positive energy in the world
What a powerful
goes out to
story.
him. That's an amazing story. And it's
What a
amazing because
life.
like we don't know what we do. We don't know the impact that we have. So young students going through that program, and then him meeting Dr. Dennis Kimbrough,
Yes.
and all of the other things that has happened from then to now continues to be very empowering. So it just goes to where there's an illusion of lack.
Yes.
Hope is the biggest thing,
It is
inspiration,
the biggest
education.
thing.
So.
It is, yes. And then to know that we have 420 full-time employees at Eastfield College, for example, and then we have another 400 and something adjunct faculty members, right, and part-timers, and to think that every single person has an opportunity to touch someone, whether it's our student, our community partners, our corporate partners, just to touch someone and to give them that light of hope. And here's a pathway for you at Eastfield. Here's something that you can do at our college, whether it is that you have the intention of that associate's degree, or you're going to go ahead and get a certificate, right, a certificate program, or you decide that you're going to test out a couple of classes, and here's a design of a pathway for you, where after those few classes, look at what you can do, right? That for all of us, I think it's like 800 and something of us at Eastfield, that is hope, light, and stewardship, right? Yeah. Stewardship and scholarship.
So like
we give that away.
Maya Angelou told Oprah Winfrey,
yes,
what every life, your legacy is every life that you touch, right?
Yes.
And so we're creating legacies right now. Every student, every teacher, every person, every life that we touch, we have the opportunity of instilling hope, inspiration, education, connection. And so we're doing that right now. And the other thing is that you have everything you need to achieve your goals.
True.
And when you are taking that step and it seems like it's a misstep, or you're not accomplishing what you're accomplishing, that's where this mindset, this growth mindset versus fixed mindset can really help people get through the toughness.
Yes.
Or the perception that you really failed and there's nothing to learn, and that failure is a definition of who you are. So really, when you look at mindset, let's kind of define it for people, because probably not everybody knows.
Okay, I'm going to try to do a really good job of this. Okay. So mindset is, according to Dr. Carol Dweck, a tendency to believe that you can grow, right? So you have to believe that you can grow. And she explains that it involves character, intelligence, and creative ability. And we need to find a way to change so that we thrive or challenge ourselves whenever we see failure.
Okay.
So if we think about it, sometimes people are intimidated by vocabulary words. So they go, what do you mean character, intelligence, and creative skills? People tell me I'm smart, so I must have intelligence. I like to do things naturally, so I may be creative. What's that character part, right? And the character part is values. So you think of whether or not you have stewardship, scholarship, the interpersonal skills that allow you to work with another individual. Do you have joy, right? Do you have dependability? You know, what are you looking and working with another individual? And how do you bridge? How do you bridge relationships? So you need to bring value to the table, and that value is a part of your character.
And so another way of, let's go deep on that. Let's kind of unpack that, because a lot of times when we hear about the different words used to describe character, integrity, stewardship, honesty.
Yes.
A lot of times with words, we envision images. So if I tell you an apple, you envision an apple. I tell you an orange, you envision an orange. I tell you a chair, you envision a chair.
Yes.
When we talk about integrity, you know, what do you envision? So a lot of times we hear these words, but it doesn't strike an image. So I ask people, what does integrity look like?
That's true.
You know, what are the behaviors in a person or in yourself that reflects integrity?
Yes.
And those are the things that would define what that word means for you. It may be different things for different people. Honesty. What does honesty look like? Dependability. Stewardship. And so those are the things I would ask you, you know, viewing, to really think about for yourself, and help in your relationships with others be clear on that.
And when we work with students, for example, and they question that and they go, well, what do you mean by honesty, right? Think of the best friend that actually gave you a hand in middle school, in high school. What values did that person have that struck you, that made you believe that was the best friend forever? And then students go, oh my gosh, you know what? I had a friend in a math class, and he was like the beacon of integrity. Like, we would want to cheat on a test, and there he was going, no. I'd rather not get a couple of those right than cheat myself out of what could be a great education. So our students are surrounded by examples of integrity, examples of honesty. And we tell them, even in your family, can you think of someone? You know, most students, of course, they go like, I don't want to talk about my mom. I don't want to talk about my dad. But what about an uncle or an aunt or even a cousin, right? There's somebody, 6 degrees of separation. There's somebody quite close to you that you can think of, that when you look at that person, you say, oh my God, I see honesty. That person has never lied to me to put me in a situation that is going to hurt me.
Okay, so let's talk about something that's real.
Yes.
So I'm helping a person. Who's going through some hard times right now. When I met this person, they didn't seem to have a lot of confidence. They didn't think that they could do certain things that they wanted to aspire to do. And so I connected that person with some resources, and they were about to see success.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden, something knocked them down. They had some legal issues to deal with. And as I was speaking to this person, and we were trying to give them hope that you can get up again, that person was saying that, but, you know, look at my situation. She was defining what, I'm trying to get gender out of it, right?
Yes.
But they were defining what they were going through.
Yes.
And going back to your integrity and being honest, there are times where we're not honest.
That's true.
And so if we define integrity and honesty as doing the right thing when nobody's watching, and then what happens when we do the wrong thing? And so this person was talking about an aspect of her life where she just wasn't happy. And I had to tell her, I said, nobody's perfect. You know, and I had to share with her that there is a relationship that's very important to me that is nowhere close to where I wanted to be. And it's really affecting how I think about myself as being successful.
Yes.
And so whether it's in a relationship, or whether it's in an aspect of your career, or you being true to yourself, going back to mindset is that your failure or your inability to reach the level that you're trying to strive for doesn't define who you are. and it's not fixed.
It's
So
not
so
fixed.
you were saying that you have the ability to, what was it that she said? You have the ability to.
Her beautiful words, yes. So you have the ability, because of character, intelligence, and creativity, to thrive on challenges and see failure not as evidence of unintelligence, but as a heartening springboard for growth.
Yeah.
So
So,
look at failure as a springboard for growth.
baby, you speaking to me right now.
Ah, there you go.
because really, people see me with the Empower series, and I'm all about helping people, and I'm helping this person I don't know. But on that good side, there's some other areas that I have that I'm working on that's hard for me. And so having this conversation, and I tell people a lot of times, I don't do the Empower series because I've arrived and I'm teaching from a pedestal. I'm on this journey like everybody else.
That's true.
You know what I mean? I have ups and downs, and for the most part, the Empower series is a community support group, I say, because it's something that I needed. I need to be around people on a regular basis that are of like mind, that are trying to go somewhere that's being positive and supportive. And I do have a network of people, but there's some people who may not.
That's true.
So going to a college, or going to your professor, or going to your counselor, or going to the Empower series, or getting associated with some community group, like the organization that the young lady has for young women.
Chanel Dunn from North
Right.
Lake College with
Right.
the Women's Empowerment Series.
Like getting connected with organizations where they're of like mind, like value. There are resources around you that can help you. And if you don't know, you just have to ask.
That's true.
Ask somebody.
Yes.
Yeah. So how do you develop that? She talks about there's a way of developing a growth mindset when you're noticing that you got these fixed tendencies, right?
Yes, we all have fixed tendencies, but she does say that when you try to at least prove that you can change, and that is there a mantra? Is there something that you can say to yourself? You know that I brought you my own
Stay positive.
affirmation. Stay
Okay.
positive. Is there something you can tell yourself that will make yourself a little braver? Which brings me to another excellent author, Dr. Brene Brown, the author of The Daring Way and Into the Wilderness. And she talks about getting vulnerable. Look at yourself. Look at yourself. Even if you have to shed tears, go into yourself. What is it that you're doing that is keeping you from being able to grow and be better and change your perception of how things should work or how things should be, right? Because why do you have to be the connoisseur of this is the way it's supposed to be? Right? Yeah. Share your knowledge with other individuals to sharpen your perception and to make it better. You know, we're all looking for win-win situations with individuals. And I know that some people say, oh my God, that is such an archaic term right now. Nobody talks about win-win. But the truth is that when we are working with people, and we did that today in the first few minutes that we talked before we went on the air, we were looking for win-win situations for you, for my college, for my colleagues. You know, the fact that that we can create a greater network with our faculty member, Regina Brown, with Chanel at Northlake, you know, the opportunities that actually come from networking and from being together. That's a growth mindset, because I could have very well, when you contacted me on LinkedIn, said, this is a frightening opportunity. I don't know that I can actually sit across from him and talk. I'm going to have to watch Brene Brown on a podcast to see
Right.
where her strength, right, and her vigor comes from so that I can do it. And I could have ignored it.
Or, we tried to do this
But
twice
no.
before too, didn't we?
That we did.
And so it could have
Yes.
been like, one time shame on, what is it? One time shame on you, two times shame on, I'm not going to go for the third try.
No.
So we could have just said, we could
We
have
could
said
have
no.
said no.
And the
Yes.
fact that I reached out to you again, I'm glad you were available, and this was it. And it was
Yes,
relatively
thank
short
you.
notice.
It was. But I was very, very excited to know that you had space for me to come in. Very appreciative, full of gratitude.
I would always have space because you add value.
Oh, thank you. Just working off the best.
So here's the other thing I was going to say. Back to positive. What do you feed yourself, or what narrative do you tell yourself? Because we all have to tell ourselves a narrative.
Yes.
I record the Empower Series programs and I put them on YouTube because I believe that everybody can't come.
Yes.
And I saw Napoleon Hill, an old tape of Napoleon Hill back in 1930s. And he made a comment that he's doing things right now and making this recording that's going to benefit people who are not even born yet. Wow. Yeah. And I thought about that. So these programs that are out there on YouTube are reaching people that we will never know.
That's true.
And so I encourage people to share it. And one of the things that I do is I look at them a lot. There's a lot of positive things on YouTube. And one of the programs that I look at over again is a program that Dr. Dennis Kimbrough. He's the author of the book Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice, co-authored with Napoleon Hill. Or I look at Dr. George Frazier, or the one I'm thinking about specifically is Shaka Senghor. Yes. So Shaka Senghor, his story, when I looked at his story, it's just, it's a reminder that all things are possible, and to never lose hope. And so, not to get into the details of it, but please Google him and watch him. But he mentioned a number of things that you just said, that we have to tell ourselves affirmations and tell ourselves a narrative, because people are telling us all the time who we are.
Yes.
And it's not always positive.
That's true.
And so we don't take charge of that and control that in a way that is irrespective of our physical environment. I was telling you about my brother in 1994, how he said that he wanted to get married, have kids, and come to Dallas. And he was in the hospital, like as skinny as my finger. And so that was his vision. So nobody around him could see that but him. So one of the most difficult things is for you to believe in the possibility of your imagination and your dream, regardless of anybody else. You've got to be the first person that believes it.
Yes.
And really protect that with affirmations.
And I will tell you, Clifton, I'll be very, very honest. At least once a week, even at work, something will happen that will just blow my mind, and what I really want to do is I want to study it and I want to learn from it. So I look for a colleague at the center, I look for somebody, and I want to have, even if it's only a 15-minute conversation, and I'm like, this happened and it had this impact on this, and it may in the future have this negative impact on this other thing. What does this mean, right? And the person sitting across from me or standing across from me maybe just looking at me going, why is she saying all of these things? But it's because I want to learn from that bad situation. And I want to learn how it affects individuals and how they see themselves. Like the employee who comes to me and says, you know what, Maria, right now, I think that I'm just going to play it safe at work, and I'm just going to do my work and go home. And I tell that person, don't stifle your creativity. No, there is so much in you. There is so much energy, so much intelligence in you. No, come to work. Yes, do the things that you have to do, but think of things and possibilities. Don't let that I'm going to come in and just go home. Don't let that be your norm, because there's a spark in you. There is something in you waiting to come out that is going to help your team. It's going to help your department. It's going to help our college. So never, never think that you should just strut, and strutting is okay and getting by is okay, because there is something truly wonderful in you that you can bring as a spark to other people, and you can have them jazz tapping, right? The day away because it was extraordinary.
So another speaker, Munson Steed, said something to me because I was diminishing an idea that I had. And it sounds like the same thing where, people should never diminish themselves. Oh. There's enough people out there. The world is diminishing us enough. So don't add to that. No. Don't diminish yourself, because there's a spark of genius in you, and there's a purpose in you. So if you feel belittled or that your idea is not worth it, then that's something that you should shake that off. Shake it off and realize that idea, it can bless somebody's life.
Yes.
It can make a difference, and never believe that.
That's true. And we encourage people to have like the water cooler conversation, because there's a lot that you learn from other people that come to you and say, you know what? I was feeling that way yesterday. I was feeling that yesterday that all I needed to do was come in and have like a paycheck mentality. And you can actually talk through that with that person and learn that that mentality is only going to take you for a couple of weeks before you start drowning at your desk.
Yeah.
Yeah. And nobody likes to be alone. Nobody's an island, right?
Yeah.
That old saying, nobody's an island. Nobody likes to work alone. Nobody likes to be alone. So it's encouraging these conversations that then will unfold growth mindsets. Because the more you talk about to people about what makes you vulnerable and what makes you apprehensive, the more you're able to realize what is keeping you from being exceptional.
Okay, so I want you to do this. I want you to give us some pure you.
Some pure me.
Because here's the thing. Because not everybody has the pleasure and the blessing of working with you, right? Not everybody has the pleasure and the blessing of reading a book.
That's true.
Or going to a conference and getting all of this knowledge that you have. So on this podcast,
Yes.
you have an opportunity to speak to the world, the
Yes.
Empower Series community. And what would be some of the things?
Hey, look at what Lucinda did when she released that email yesterday. And you don't know how many people at Eastfield are going, oh my God, Maria's talking.
Yeah.
So she better say something really well.
And there's some people there who may not have had, they may have felt you with the work that you do with the leadership and the faculty, but they don't know you, right?
Right.
Like some students don't know you.
That's true.
So I want you to share with them and with me something that we can apply in our lives that can help us, keep the faith and not let, a failure, dictate and define us as being fixed.
That's true. There is a social psychologist. Her name is Vanessa Van Edwards. And she says that we become irresistible in 7 seconds. 7 seconds is all it takes for us to be irresistible. And do you know where that starts with? It starts with a genuine smile. Okay. So you need to have a genuine smile. And then you need to lock eyes. Don't be afraid to look at people and see who they really, really are. Not your perception of who they are, who they really, really are, right? And then articulate. Say what you really want to say. She calls that vocal variety. She says that if when you're speaking, you really sound like you are a part of the conversation, people trust you, people listen to you, people engage with you, and you make a friend. 7 seconds and you make a friend. So never be afraid when you see somebody more important than you, bigger than you. Don't be afraid to get up and go to that person and ask a simple question, right? And start a conversation. You may take away a phrase, a word that will empower you for the rest of the day, for the rest of the week, for the rest of the month, that you'll be able to write and put on your desk, put on your refrigerator at home, that you will think, man, if I just took that a little bit further, who knows what I can become? Who knows what I can be in the future? So every time you meet someone, be authentic and have a great smile.
All right. So who's the author?
That's Vanessa Van Edwards.
So Vanessa Van Edwards.
From thescienceofpeople.com.
Thescienceofpeople.com. Okay, great. That's a good one because my mom used to always say, Clifton, just smile and it'll make everything better.
Yes,
right?
our parents used to tell
simple
us
wisdom, right?
simple wisdom. I think our kindergarten teachers used to tell that us all the time, right?
So now we're
just
thinking,
smile.
And now if people are listening to this and they're going like, but what am I going to say? Then you just say Vanessa Van
Edwards.
Vanessa Van Edwards told me to connect with people,
Yes.
smile,
Smile.
and to look at you in the eyes.
Yes.
So that's all I'm doing right now. Where it goes from there, I don't know where it's going to go.
That's right. That's what it is. Yes.
All right, that's cool. Thank you for that. Now, the other thing I want to do is I want to talk about what we're going to do.
Yes.
What kind of future collaboration do you see with the Empower series?
You have to come to Eastfield, Clifton.
Okay.
That's number one.
I will come.
I know
And
it's
I was
been a
actually
little bit
there.
hard to.
I was there
Yes.
with Comerica Bank.
Yes.
There's a program called Bank at Work, or where people are transitioning and trying to get into the banking industry.
Yes.
And so there was a gentleman by the name of Eric Butler. He's one of the recruiters. Mm-hmm. There was a program there, and I actually spoke in the class. So I actually went there.
Oh my goodness! Well,
I'll
it's
come
exciting, and you have to come back.
I will come back. I will come back.
Yes.
So definitely, I will.
You've got to
come
meet
there.
Timothy. You've got to meet Regina. You have to meet some of the colossal people we have at Eastfield
Okay,
who
so
are
I
doing
will make that
fantastic
happen.
work.
So I'll make that happen next week.
Thank you.
We're putting it all out there.
All right.
Okay, so that's number one. And then let's imagine real quick what the possibilities are of what we can do. Because when I think about the work that you're doing in the Center of Excellence for Teaching and Learning, again, I just look at the captivative audience that you're working with, and I think about what about everybody else? What are the things that you're doing that we can put into the community? Like, us talking about it on the podcast, maybe you being a speaker at some point to bring some of this knowledge into the community with people who would never even go
Yes.
To the college campus to get this information. I want to see how we can, get your information out to the world.
I think that's a fantastic idea, and to do it in multiple languages.
There you go. I was going to add
To
that
be able
to it as well.
to be able to talk to our listeners who are anywhere, and thinking, if she said it in Spanish, I wonder what it would sound like, right? Y poder dar ese entonces mensaje en español y decirles, mira, de todo corazón, queremos que su mente crezca, que su mente se amplíe. Y nosotros tenemos todos los conocimientos que le podemos dar, mi palabra favorita, las herramientas que las puedan llevar a tener una mejor educación, una mejor vida. That's all.
Okay,
So,
I'm following you. I'm following
Yes,
you. I'm following
yes,
the energy,
we
right?
can-
Don't
we
understand
can
the
give
words you
that.
said, but I got the
Yes,
energy, right?
yes.
The Empower series going
My
global.
favorite word is herramientas. That's herramientas. Because
Herramientas,
tools, basically the word tools in Spanish.
Okay.
Because that's what we give. That's what faculty gives students. That's what we give each other as coworkers. That's what our administrators give us too. They give us tools so that we can then go and do a great job. Truly walk the walk of the things that we tell people that we want to be able to do in the future. Yes.
So here's the deal.
Herramientas.
The Empower series is going to be global.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Are you doing anything outside of your role on campus that people need to know about?
Yes. Conference day was a very blessed day for me. As a matter of fact, Chanel, I will be on her podcast on Thursday, October 17 at 7 p.m.
And how do we access that podcast? Do you know?
I'm going to send you the information
Okay, cool.
so that you can share that, and then also, I believe it's in November. Out of the information circulating on LinkedIn, I have been contacted to be a keynote speaker for a women's conference for the Southwest region of Texas for a large corporate insurance company. And I would have never thought that I would get that as a message.
Wow.
Yeah.
So if people want to get in touch with you to have you speak in their other conferences, how do they reach you?
Eastfield College.
Okay.
Yeah. Caratini at dcccd.edu.
Got it.
Yes.
Got it. Okay. And then you're on LinkedIn as well.
I'm on LinkedIn. I'm very active on LinkedIn.
So LinkedIn, Eastfield College,
Yes.
and if you Google you, and they'll
Twitter.
find you.
I'm on Twitter.
Twitter.
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm actually very active on LinkedIn and Twitter. Less than that on Facebook. Our young people don't like their nanas and their mamas on Facebook, so I respect that.
Okay, that's cool.
Yes.
So, I'm liking our conversation. It's not over yet. I do want to talk about some things that have happened for the Empower series that we were stumbling in the very beginning. I didn't get out.
Oh,
so
okay.
today we just got notification that we were approved to be part of the Kroger Community Rewards Program.
That is fantastic.
Have you heard of that before?
Congratulations. Yes, I have.
Okay, so these are just ways to where the Empower series, I want to make sure is a sustainable organization that continues to operate long after I'm gone.
Oh, yeah.
And the Kroger's Rewards Program is really cool. If you shop at Kroger and you have a little Kroger card, you go online and you can search for any nonprofit actually that you want to have Kroger donate to, that you are interested in. The Empower series is now on that list. So if you want to support the Empower series, you can go online and register the Empower series with your card. And then anytime you shop, a percentage of that Kroger will make a donation. A donation is better than no donation, right?
No donation, that's true.
And that's great, but you have to go in every year on August 1st to register. So I just found that out today, so I want to make sure that the whole community knows about that.
Oh, that is fantastic.
We get that out there in the universe.
Yes.
And also with Comerica Bank, they've been a longtime supporter of the Empower series. I would say kudos to Comerica Bank because they are truly living their values.
They
are.
are.
They focus on relationships. They want to see businesses and people succeed. And their other model is really raising an expectation of what a bank can be. But I think what they do is they raise the expectation of what people can be.
Yeah, just like us at Eastfield College, the #1 college that is on the east side of Dallas.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah.
Just had to plug that in.
So raising the expectation, because we can all, and what we're talking about, raise the expectation of what we can be,
Yes.
our mindset. You know, we are not defined by our worst deeds, and we're not defined by our failure.
That's true.
You know, we are strengthened by our failure. That's one way of looking at it as well. And so AE Media Group, they make us look good.
Yes, they do. This is a great setup.
They make us look good. They record all of our programs. They give us a lot of things in kind. So I'm definitely blessed by them. And I'm also blessed by people who contribute. They contribute either online by going to our website at www.empowerseries.com and clicking on the donate button, or they can text give or donate to 214-225-6337, and they'll get a link where they can make a donation. And
That is
so,
wonderful.
so everything that we do free workshops, we do free lunch and learns here in Dallas. On the third Saturday of every month, we're at the Highland Hills Library. The Friday before, we're doing a free lunch and learn at the Meadows Conference Center.
I cannot wait to visit.
Yeah, and then in Houston, we just expanded to Houston, so we're doing that on the second Saturday of each month. And so I want to look at expanding to multiple states. So my vision is that communities have all of the resources that they need to achieve their goals.
Yes.
You know, we don't need anything else, but just collaborating and working together with each other in a spirit of caring, sharing, and partnership and teamwork. And all things are really possible.
All
if people
things
care.
are possible. Absolutely.
So, and even with us, I'm looking forward to our relationship
Yes.
and us reaching more lives
Yes.
through our translation and through innovation and imagination. So how can we connect the dots?
How many people can we touch out there?
You know, there's another thing that I'm going to be meeting with the city of Dallas on Monday. There's a gentleman who is the officer of diversity there, and really diversity in the community, because there's a number of resources that are available for women, specifically to build businesses, entrepreneur. All of the different organizations that are out there to support women don't always know of each other. So you may go to one organization and they can't help you, but that organization doesn't know about this other organization that can help women. And so I'm planning on meeting with them on Monday to talk about how can the Empower Series be part of that bridge to let everybody know what resources are available to help them take that idea to the next level.
Yes.
So that's what we're all about. I really appreciate you coming on.
Oh,
talking.
this has been wonderful. It
And-
has been so fluid and so sincere.
But we can talk much more.
Yes, we
right?
can.
But not online. Our time is up. So thank you again.
Okay.
Reach out to Marie, either on LinkedIn. Go to Eastfield College. She's search for her. You can find her.
Yes, I'm a senior manager for organizational development. I'm in the Center for Excellence in Teaching and Learning, and I love making new friends.
Yeah, and don't let this be the last time you hear from her. Right?
That's true.
So I want to thank you. Thank you for watching. We're going to close down right now. We're going to continue our conversation, take some pictures, right?
Yes,
and
we
post
are.
them on Facebook
Yes.
and LinkedIn as well,
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
Can we do that?
Yes, yes.
All right, so you guys have a great day. I want to thank you for watching. Don't let this be the last time. Share this video with other people. Like it. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and connect with us on social media. So we're on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram. Bless the world. So
Yes.
thank you for watching.
And thank you so much for the invitation, Clifton. We appreciate it. Thank you.
It would just continue, right?